Hi, and welcome to the Divinely Inspired Woman podcast. I am your host, Patricia Wald-Hopkins. I am a modern mystic, and I am here to share with you the beautiful wisdom and stories from women that desire to lead their lives inspired by the divine within them. The divinely inspired woman is devoted to walking the path of her soul's calling, tuning into the divinity within to navigate life with ease and grace through all circumstances. She cultivates beauty in her daily life. She is here to share the most authentic self each day through thick and thin. So I hope you'll enjoy our show today and that you will leave with an infusion of inspiration for your soul and for your day and living your life. Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Divinely Inspired Woman. I am your host, Patricia Wald-Hopkins, and I have a lovely, beautiful guest with me here today, Jessica Phillips. And before we have a nice conversation with her, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about her. So, Jessica, let's see here. Lots of good stuff. So she's a free-spirited wanderess and healer of multiple modalities. She favors creating long-lasting change and freedom from within first. My kind of person. She advocates for emotional alchemy and encourages self-mastery via a unique 7-stage emotional clearing technique called the spiral. Awesome. Her main mission is to encourage highly sensitive empaths to reconnect with and reactivate who they are at a soul level in order to feel safe to be here now and show up as their most authentic selves. It's beautiful. So Jessica, it says that you live by this mantra, which I love, make the mundane magical. Yeah. And openly share stories. She likes to openly share stories about travel tales, daily adventures, heart musings, and to just inspire others to live in their own authentic way. So what a beautiful way to live your life. How did you come about? I mean, that feels divinely inspired to me, but how did you come about, this process of living so authentically in your flow?
Great first question. I suppose it's a long process over a long period of time and trying out all these different techniques and modalities to I'm big on feeling to heal and to reconnect to myself and live in a way that is for me and staying in my own lane and not what other people kind of want or feel I should be living. That's been a huge thing in my life, kind of dropping the people pleasing, following everybody else's kind of, or the societal norms of how we should live. And just making the mundane magical. I love adventure. I'm big on adventure and traveling, but also I just feel like even just popping to the supermarket, just let's make it fun.
Yeah.
And I feel like my parents are a great testament to that because my mom has always been a huge traveler, and I've been so fortunate to go on long distance travel from a really young age, and it sparked that wanderlust in me. And then my dad is very much like happy staying at home in his chair, reading his book in the garden. And so with dad, my big adventures are when we go and do the food shop, when we're just sat in the house chatting about books and journeying that way. So those two kind of very extreme versions of travel. And I love to embody both of them because not everybody can go off and travel. And obviously the last few years, none of us have been able to. So it's about bringing that magic and adventure literally into the day to day.
Yeah, I love that. Inward and outward travels, right? You do both.
Yeah.
That's a lovely way to balance the energies too of being with nature, being with the 3D world, and being in spirit or, in the imaginal realms. I know that, we're going to be talking about a chapter in the stories of the goddess book here in a little bit. That's curated by Radhaa publishing house. But have you been writing? Is that part of what you do?
So I love writing. Yeah, it was my biggest joy as a child. And then it kind of dropped out of my world a little bit as I kind of went through university again, had to sort of get a proper job.
Yes.
But I even just in kind of mainstream 9 to 5, even just writing emails to people, I was so thoughtful and mindful about how I write them. Like the written word is so kind of precious to me, and it's my favorite way to express myself. I feel like it's my most coherent way to express myself. And kind of following on from that, I did start a blog, gosh, about 8 years ago now.
Oh, wow.
Actually, it was a kind of therapy for myself, and also to kind of help and comfort, reassure, inspire other people going through similar. And it was a mental health blog about my own mental health journey, the mental health journey of my father at the time. And then it transformed and it transferred. And now I'm literally at the place where I'm writing for joy, and I'm writing for the sake of writing again, and just sharing snippets from day-to-day life and travels. And it's just, it's bringing me such joy. And I'm so grateful to kind of have come back full circle here. And to be writing kind of first and foremost for me, and not what I feel or think other people need me to be writing or need to hear. Yeah.
Right. No, I hear that. It's so important. I mean, there's a time and a place for everything, but to be able to have that joy in writing, I'm totally on board with you with that. It's so nourishing for your soul. And I think it really nourishes other people when they read it, right? I mean, that's
especially if it's your authentic kind of heart truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely an art of the soul and the heart. Do you want to tell me a little bit about, I'm going to go ahead and introduce the book now, and we can kind of go back and forth between your, talking about you and your life and the book. But what is the title of your book? I want you to go ahead and say it, because I think there's more power in that.
Yeah, the chapter.
The chapter, yes.
Yes. No, not got the whole book just yet.
I'm that's what's coming through for me, though, that you're going to have the book. So.
That is the dream. I love that. Thank you, Patricia. The title of my chapter is The Wild Empath and the Compassionate Warrior.
Yeah.
So kind of, those paradoxes and those opposing kind of personality, so to speak, and kind of the fact that we can and we do embody both of those, and that's okay, even if it kind of feels conflicting or it confuses the outside world sometimes. That you can be soft and gentle, nurturing and caring, and you can also be fierce and when you need to be. And I don't like using the word strong, because I feel, to me, being gentle and soft and open is also a huge strength. So I think the strength in both of those.
Yeah, I love the balance of the energies. That's almost like the embodiment of the divine feminine, right? And with the masculine, the divine masculine within ourselves. And as it relates to the goddesses, is there a particular goddess or, archetype that you were called to work with as you were writing this book, or is this more general in just essence, nature?
No, I was definitely called to one. I feel like she kind of, she called to me, and she was like, and it was Artemis.
Oh,
and, it felt very fitting as well, because I've always been kind of intrigued by the wild woman, huntress kind of goddess archetype in general. And Artemis kind of just found me, and then I started to connect to her and learn a lot about her. And then I actually went on a retreat in Mykonos before the process. I decided that was going to kind of be my chapter. And unbeknownst to me, we went on this kind of boat tour around the islands, the Argan Sea, very feminine healing waters. And we made a stop at Delos Island, which is actually the birthplace of Artemis.
Oh, wow.
Universe had just divinely guided me to her birthplace to walk barefoot on her land. And oh my gosh, it was so magical. I was like, okay, I'm definitely on the right path with this.
Wow. What an divine activation for you. Oh, yeah, and a blessing.
I love being activated by the lands and just kind of
Mhm.
being in sometimes we don't need to do anything. It's just being present in these lands or with them remotely and tuning into them that way.
Yeah, definitely tuning in. I'm definitely love to tune into different places on the earth or go visit them. One of my favorite places is, well, the mountains for me, but like the Grand Canyon. Like every time I go hike to the bottom and sleep on the earth there, I'm just like tuning into to some frequencies that are so healing, right? And then you bring that energy back. Yeah.
I love that. I've been there twice and I didn't know you could do that. Okay, I'm gonna have to go again.
See, I told I got it.
Oh my gosh.
You can go down there and I've taken my kids, backpack down. We've all slept near the river and it's just magical. So I can imagine like these places that you were talking about, that you went to this retreat. You like carried some energy from there into your life. And do you feel like writing this book has like shifted the way that you're living your life in some way?
I feel like it's been a good opportunity for me to integrate and embody a lot of what I've been kind of learning on a mental level, and then kind of channeling it through the book. And even the writing process itself brought up a lot of kind of triggers and wounding for me to kind of really feel through and have changed habits and patterns towards. So in that sense, yes, absolutely. Kind of, dropping the procrastination or the perfectionism, but also not forcing when the words don't want to flow. I had to really practice patience, waiting. And I there was a fine line because I was like, hang on, is this resistance? Because this is something I really want to do, but I don't feel kind of good enough or ready. Or is it just that don't force it before it's ready? And actually what I was writing on in the chapter was very raw and had just occurred. So I needed a bit of time to process it before I did so. So just kind of getting the beautiful balance with that and tuning into what was occurring for me through that process was, a real gift.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel the same, the same way about writing chapters in these collaborative books. There's something about the container, right? That Radhaa, she creates. I've written in a couple of her other books before. And it's just something about the alchemy of that cauldron with the other people that are in, in that book with you, and you bringing in your ingredients to it. It's like we all get activated by all of that. Yeah. And so it's such a gift, I think, to do these kinds of book collaborations. What has been your experience? That's mine, but what has yours been?
No, I love that you called it a cauldron. I love that so much. All the witchy vibes. And I can't wait to read everybody else's chapter. I feel like for me, I didn't get to I was quite inward during the process, and I didn't get to kind of engage with the community in the container as much as I'd maybe usually have liked to, but just kind of knowing everyone was there along like a similar but different journey. It felt very, very supportive. And even if I wasn't kind of interacting one-on-one or in the group with everybody consistently, I could feel everyone's energy and just feel the magic that we were all kind of working through and working towards. I feel like something that was said on another interview yesterday was how like we're kind of, a lot of us have been writing about things that are happening in real time, and we've all been kind of navigating through a lot while we've been doing that. And I think that is really beautiful, because it's not that we're kind of here sharing our stories like, oh, we've got everything figured out. It's we're with kind of working through it at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful, because so many people think they have to wait until they're fully healed to heal others or share their work or share their writing. And that's just not the case. We'd all be waiting forever, because it's a kind of lifelong, never ending journey.
Isn't it? It's this constant spiral of evolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's more of a, wisdom based, right? Or wisdom based experiential sharing, and a little bit of the knowledge and that, like mental organization of facts and all of that kind of thing. But it's really a heart, I think, like heart transmissions for me in the writing process. But what I wanted to ask you next was, I know that when I introduced you, you have a system called the Spiral. Is that correct?
Yeah. So it's, what I got certified in. I went through it with kind of a trusted friend of a friend and mentor, and I just found it so transformative that an opportunity came up 6 months later to train in it. So it was the Spiral Institute when I started, but I believe it's just been taken over by some other amazing women, and it's now called the Spiral School of Awakening. But it's a combination of modalities that an Australian guy, I want to say Dane Thomas, Dane somebody, who, he just kind of found that there was a fast track shortcut to the healing, but not in a kind of avoidance and cheating way, just kind of, stripping everything back and what is the most effective route. And so he combined these different modalities. So like kinesiology, muscle testing, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, the Chinese meridian points, emotional stress release points, the Ayurvedic chakra system, and spiral dynamics, and kind of combine them all into just this magical transformational 7 stages. So you work through the 7 chakras, root to crown, or vice versa if you're doing a manifestation clear and want to bring something in. But usually it's to clear all of the blocks that the majority of, I feel like all of us have from either childhood, 0 to 7 years old, or past lives. And not necessarily needing to go through all the stories again, because of course I believe stories have a place and being part of the book. But and talking therapy and counseling worked wonders for me at the time. But I feel like with that, it gets to a certain point where it has a limit, because then you're just kind of going over the same things. And I big believer in holistic therapies and somatic healing. And, you can know all the things up here, but the body can still react in certain ways to things. And so it's kind of clearing it on an energetic level. And it is just magic, because there's a lot of science behind it, which I'm not going to pretend to know. But I just know that I went through it, and of all the modalities I've ever done, it was the most transformational for me, made the kind of shifts. And like you kind of read in the intro from me, it's I'm all about long-lasting change, and not band-aid. I think band-aids and certain tools have a place, but I got to the point where it was like long-lasting change is needed in getting to the root cause of things, which in our kind of modern society isn't kind of readily done. It's like, take this, have that, this will fix.
Right.
It's a band-aid, and it actually covers more things and causes more problems later down the line.
Totally agree. And I love what you're saying, because when you're speaking, I can see that energy of Artemis there with you, aim and, get to the core of it, right? Aim at what you need directly, and don't be distracted by a lot of the noise around you. So you can, the contrast, definitely feel that vibe with you. So that's beautiful. And totally matches. So you use that modality with, I want to learn a little bit more about how you work with other people, I guess is where I'm going with this part of it.
So it's 7 stages, the 7 chakras, but I do it over 9 weeks. So, kind of the intro, get to know, set an intention, and really set a good intention, and not just kind of you want, so to speak. Something that's going to be really transformative and kind of, if whether that's something to do with certain area of your life or a big goal that you want to achieve. And then we go through the 7 chakras, 1 a week, clearing. And then the final one is kind of, the follow-up, and then we can do a quick manifestation clear once the chakras are more clear and balanced, to bring in kind of big dreams, goals, desires that maybe seemed too big or out of reach initially at the start.
Wonderful. Yeah, that sounds amazing. Yeah. I love the manifestation piece after, you do the clearing, and then you can bring that through. I think a lot of times that's what everybody gets stuck on too, is that there's just too much old stuff still in their energetic system. So I work in the Akashic records a lot, and
Beautiful.
And I have to do working with that. When you were speaking about that process, what I wanted to ask you was, through this book chapters, I'm kind of bringing it back and forth to the book and to your life. How do you feel about this transmission that you've put in the chapter? How do you want for that to impact, the collective? Like, what is your big dream or your hope for it?
Well, I kind of, with anything that I do, is just that hope that people will feel safe to be their true selves, kind of here now in this world that we're in, because I know so many of us don't or haven't. And to just feel like there's a safe space to do that. And obviously we can only create safe space for others if we feel safe in ourselves and to be ourselves. And we all know it starts within, and that's a concept we kind of all know, but actually embodying that is a whole different thing. And I do kind of weave in and mention the spiral in the chapter. And for me, kind of 9 times out of 10, when you strip every kind of fear or trigger or wound or everything back, for me, the biggie that it comes back to, and certainly in my personal experience in life, is self-worth. It's self-worth, which is also connected to kind of the people pleasing and the guilt and the shame, which then obviously when you strip that back further, is all about, us not wanting to be rejected or abandoned and wanting to be accepted, and the fear that we won't be. Again, usually from things from childhood or past lives, or a combination of both. So it's kind of showing through my own experiences that no matter what kind of struggles or challenges or hardships you've been through or are currently going through, or that are to come, because that is life, there's going to be more along the way, but knowing that you've got this, you can handle this, you're not alone, there's support out there, and that there is a way through, no matter kind of how messy and icky and uncertain it all feels, collectively and individually. And kind of that piece, and just maybe for highly sensitive empaths to feel a little bit more seen and heard and understood. Which again, all comes from ourselves first, but it's all a paradox and a contradiction, because while we're figuring that out for ourselves, it is supportive and a boost to feel seen and heard by other people. And I think there's so much out there now of like, oh, you have to do it for yourself, everything is within, which I do totally agree with, but along the way, like, we're here, community is everything, and we're here to help each other get to that point. And then in doing so, we do for other people, and it's a big circle and a loop.
Very, a lot of reciprocity. Yeah, it's symbiotic almost too, right? Definitely help one another out. Let's see here where spirit wants me to go with that. Because as you're talking, I can see how you use, it's like almost like that arrow, right? And you just cut through all of that stuff that we've collected through our life, and you get to that essence of who you are and the value that you're just a gift of, God, goddess, whatever you want to say, right? You really, what is the word I want to say? Excavate that jewel of self is what I feel like.
Yeah. I want to be really honest and transparent though as well. Like, there was, kind of 6-7 years on this journey of me wandering off the beaten path and down the garden path and kind of dead ends and getting lost. And I suppose that's another reason of wanting to share, is because not I feel like we all have to go down dead ends and get a little bit lost sometimes and make the mistakes. That's, again, all part of growth and evolution within ourselves. But if I can kind of help people along that journey to kind of, hit the nail on the head.
The nail on the head. Yeah.
A lot sooner.
Hit the target. Yeah. No. Come back to center. Go back right into the center, right? Yeah.
And kind of save people time, because I feel, again, that is our most precious commodity in this life and in this world. It is time. So if I can save people a little bit of that along the way, then great.
And it sounds like you maybe this is a great tool for thinking about people who are listening to this. If you're, empathic, or you're very highly sensitive, which I am, that this is this a good tool for that, for helping you weed out what's not yours, so that you can feel yourself, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, from my experience, absolutely. And I think that's a big one as well, of, it's owning that you're highly sensitive and or empathetic, but it's not, not falling into that victim mode and not allowing it to be that burden, which I so get it is for so many of us, because this world is not created for highly sensitive empaths. And I mean, me personally, with how the last few years have gone and the lockdowns, that was actually for me, the biggest blessing, because the world finally went a little bit quieter and slowed the F down. Excuse my language.
I'm so with you.
And I was like, oh wow, this world is really not designed for us. And it gave introverts as well the permission to go within and not to feel guilty. And then I thought, wow, so many of us feel guilty or feel like we have to say yes when we really want to say no. And there's always reasons for that, again, from childhood, and just kind of getting to the root of that. Being aware is great, but then getting to the root and actually doing something about it, that is the true kind of work and the true gold.
Yeah. I love that you're saying getting to the root, because that's like rooting, right? Root into you. And there was something you said about like COVID and how we were all, kind of isolated away, and like what you're talking about here now is so needed, because as we've come back into being around everything again, we kind of have lost that muscle to know how to come back, right?
It's a bit of a shock to the system.
It has been for me.
I think it's very telling kind of who has good boundaries in place and maybe who doesn't so much. And it's a huge thing that I've had to work on, to kind of even know what my own boundaries are, and to ask for what I need and to uphold them. And also, if I get a no, to know that that's not personal as well. Like, it's so easy to take things personally and then adapt and try and mold as a highly sensitive empath to other people to make them feel comfortable. And often at the detriment of ourselves, which is not good.
Right. Yeah.
That's healthy, and it's not long lasting. Yeah.
Codependent kind of behavior that we modeled as we grew up.
And it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. No, it's not. Well, I want to make sure that we have an opportunity for you to talk a little bit about how people can connect with you, and anything else you want to say about the book, or just a little pearl of wisdom to leave our audience with.
Wow, I did love how you mentioned about rooting as well, because I have a lot of earth in my natal chart. So, and obviously Artemis is kind of the goddess of the wilderness and of nature. And so just that encouragement for people to kind of get outside and connect with nature. Like, I love it's fuel to me. I know it probably maybe doesn't have the same effect for certain other people. Like, my dad's actually not a big fan of walking. And I'm like, how can you not be?
Oh, I love walking.
I know. Well, and I always say, even if it's not walking, even if it is just sitting outside in the garden or just listening to the bird song or something, like, when we connect to nature, we're reconnecting with ourselves, because we are nature. And it's so simple, but it's yet so profound. And I feel like so much, obviously your podcast and like divinely inspired women, and it's like for me inspiration comes so much comes through in nature when we just kind of tune out and tune in a little bit, drop the devices and just sit and be still, and there's just so much magic to be found in nature. So yeah,
Beautiful.
a little
Get out
shout
in
out
nature.
to nature.
Get out in nature, root in, put your feet on the ground, smell. Yeah.
I know,
I'm ready to go outside.
some people aren't a fan, but oh my gosh, walking barefoot, it's just like I feel like I've plugged myself into the socket. Like it's my charging device.
A million little acupuncture needles like going to your feet, but
Yes. And
well,
then
I think I would enjoy talking to you more about nature for sure, and maybe we can another time. But let's make sure we let people know how to connect with you, and I will have your details in the write-up for this episode. But
yeah, so I spend most of my time on Instagram, share most of my things on there. So my handle is at with open wings.
okay.
And then my website is just being completely refreshed, rebranded, and I'm hoping that's going to be done for the end of this month, with the kind of to time in with the launch of the pre-sale of Stories of the Goddess, so end of March, and that will be www.withopenwings.com. And then I have an email that I can share with people as well. And yeah, those are kind of the best places.
Okay, wonderful. And that, yeah, the book is coming out. Is it March 23rd, right?
The pre-sale is March 23rd, and then the hard copy should be just about a month after that.
Right. Beautiful. Yeah. And what's something about that cover, right? That golden.
I had it as my phone background for months.
What a great idea. I'm going to do that.
That's another great, like simple but profound tip of using, if you're very visual, is the post-its everywhere, or using your phone background, even your passwords, make them inspiring.
Yeah,
like,
so fun.
All the little things every day. Yeah.
Magic. Weave magic and inspiration into your day. Well, it has been absolutely lovely speaking with you today and learning a little bit more about you. And I'm excited to read your chapter. So thank you for being a guest today. And and many, many, many blessings to you and everyone listening today. And tune in next time. But until then, remember to get outside, be in nature in some way or another, and remain divinely inspired, tuning in to your true, authentic self. Thank you. Give me a minute. I'm a little slow. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Divinely Inspired Woman. Again, I am your host, Patricia Wald-Hopkins, and I am so glad that you joined us here today. I hope you left with some soul food to inspire your daily life. And if you would like to learn more about my work, please check out my website, patriciawaldhopkins.com, and you can find out more about my divinely inspired practice and tools. So, thank you again. Have a beautiful day. Hi. I'm dropping in here with an announcement about a program, a new mentorship that I am offering. It's called Voices of Gaia, and it's about bringing your voice, your leadership, your life in alignment with Gaia's guidance. So if you feel called to learn more about this program, it's a beautiful, rich program where we dive into your essence, and if you so desire, we develop your business around it and really blossom into your whole lifestyle, this wisdom from Gaia that wants to be spoken through you. So if you feel called, reach out to me at patricia@patriciawaldhopkins.com. That's patricia@patriciawaldhopkins.com. There's no hyphen between Wald and Hopkins. And I would just love to hear from you and see if this is a good fit. So thank you for tuning in.
Have a beautiful day.